Welcome to the SEO plus AI show. My name is Josh, doing SEO every day, Bashinsky. With me, as always, I have my co-host, Greg Bassani. Say hi there, Greg.
Hey, guys. How are you guys? How are you, Josh?
I'm doing very well, sir. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Doing good. I was going to make a comment because you started drinking. I'm like, I could be doing better if I had a beer like you, but it looks like it's just water. So.
No, it's either pure vodka or water. Your choice. People can decide which one they think it is. If you've never seen the SEO plus AI show before, we are the finest place on the YouTubes to learn about the intersection of SEO and AI. If you've never heard of SEO, welcome. It's a great place to make money and you can work from home. If you've never heard of AI, where have you been? For the last year, people have been screaming about AI. SEO is all about AI. We're here to preach from the mountain about how SEO is all about AI. If you're not using AI, you're missing out. And we're going to show you some really interesting tips and tricks today on how to use different techniques to really boost your SEO. Today, in fact, we're going to be going over conversions. You know all that traffic you tried really hard to get, either through paid traffic or through SEO? You know you should be converting that traffic. We're going to show you today how to convert that traffic, some of the really pro tips and tricks of how to convert your traffic, how to really boost your conversion rates, how to increase the amount that people are enjoying your blogs, enjoying your content, enjoying your sales pages, making purchases. Did you know that a conversion can mean many things more than just a sale? We're going to go over that kind of stuff today. So we do two shows. We do one, this live show on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Also, however, we do a produced show. You can go onto my YouTubes and you can click the bell and smack the monkey and hit the whatever you need to do down there to subscribe. So it tells you when we're going on live. You can ask any SEO questions you want live. Go ahead and ask in the right-hand side of the chat any SEO questions that you might want to ask. I'll be happy to provide any SEO information that I can. Also, check the description for a 10% off link of our AI tool, SEO Copilot. You can go to SEOcopilotai.com and try it free for 2 weeks, no credit card needed, so you can see the power of AI that we're talking about. So let's get to today's topic. So it's about how to do CRO. CRO stands for Conversion Rate Optimization, which is a lot like SEO, search engine optimization. If you're not doing CRO with your SEO, then you are SOL. You're shit out of luck. So make sure to do CRO with your SEO so you don't be SOL. And you can BBYB or BRB or I don't know, you can TikToks or something. I don't know. I'm running out of acronyms to talk about. So this is part of my long-running SEO course that I'm teaching in just little chunks of SEO tips. So let me share the screen here. And that's today's SEO tip number 13, how to get traffic to your SEO pages. We're going to start with traffic, and then we're going to move on to conversion rate optimization. So SEO tip number 13, how to get traffic to your SEO pages. So you might be like, Josh, this is kind of crazy. You say all kind of crazy things. Your shirt's really open. You know, you have crazy hair. There's crazy things behind you. What are you talking about? Why do I need to get traffic to my SEO page? Am I not ostensibly doing SEO so that I get SEO traffic to my SEO page? And the answer is yes. He took a sip for dramatic effect. However, unless you've been really paying attention to what I've been doing, so if you've been watching my SEO tips, you would have seen in previous SEO tips where I talked about why to do SEO, how to do SEO, how to do SEO properly for the on-page, the beginning portions, right? I'm kind of going in chronological order with these tips of kind of the order you would do your SEO. And so I talked about how to do SEO, how to choose the right niches to begin with that are the easiest to rank for, that are going to make you the most money. And I also said when building topical clusters and building your informational pages that you need to build your site in a certain way. I said that you need to go for the easiest searches to begin with, that you can provide the best, most quality, helpful information that is definitely speaking to the primary query intent, because the new Quality Rater AI is definitely going to be looking for that. Again, that's why you're watching the SEO plus AI show, because SEO is all about AI, both understanding Google's AIs and how they rank pages, and understanding how to use AI yourself to boost your pages. So you have to understand AI in two levels, what Google is doing with AIs, and also how to boost your pages with AI. And I would have said you've got to rank for the easiest queries to begin with. Do not go for the harder queries. You know, you need to make 5 pages a day, 5 days a week. So you get 100 pages roughly at the end of the month. After 2 or 3 months, you've got a 200 or 300 page site of all easy low-hanging fruit keywords that are also making you the most money. And you're ranking on page 1 already for those. You will already be ranking on page 1, if not spot number 1, if you've done that job correctly. I repeat, you're already ranking not only on page number 1, you're ranking on spot number one if you've watched my previous tips. If not, go back on my channel. You can see them. They're all clearly labeled SEO tips 1, 2, 3, 3.1, 3.2, blah, 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 to see how to do SEO, that within just a few easy months, you're ranking already on page number one easily. And in fact, you're ranking on spot number one in some cases, getting a featured snippet in many cases, and you're pleasing your users, you're giving good tips and tricks, and hopefully you're able to find, depending on your niche, you chose the right niche to begin with that made a lot of money but wasn't hard to go for, one, in general. Two, in that niche, you chose the right EMQs to go for that were the easiest to rank for, that make the most money. And so you're probably even making some money now on your website. Even if it's a little bit, you're making $10, $20, $100, $200 a month. It depends on what you're doing SEO for. If you're doing client SEO, the client is paying you and the client is super happy. And you should be charging at least $500 a month. That's the base price that I charge. Mind you, I've been doing this for 25 years. I know some people in SEO who don't charge any less than $2,000 or $5,000. Now, I don't like that level of customer personally because they tend to want to call you on the phone and they tend to want to have a lot of meetings with you and kind of treat you like an employee. And if I wanted an in-house SEO job where I could chat up the secretary all day and drink coffee and play solitaire all day, I'd still be doing that. I've had those jobs, don't like them. I like working from home. This is my office and my house. I have all my cool shit here. But you could be doing all different kinds of SEO. You could be doing client SEO, you could be doing in-house SEO. And so you're making the mullahs, right? Or you're bringing back value for the SEO, the maximum value. You've optimized your maximum value, which is what all SEO is about. It's search engine optimization. It's not search engine guessing, search engine half-assery, search engine don't know what I'm doing, search engine fly by the seat of your pants. It's none of those things. It's search engine optimization. You need to rank higher, faster, right? And all your competitors are spending hundreds, if not $1,000s a month to outcompete you. You need to be more nimble, more quick, more optimized, better informed with better information from this show and from my private mastermind group, SEO University. If you want to learn about my private mastermind group where we really go into detail about all this stuff, email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com, put secret sauce in the subject, and I'll give you a huge discount if you're also an SEO Copilot customer. I can give you up to a 50% off if you're an SEO Copilot customer. So they kind of go hand in hand. So definitely check that out if you want to, or go for either one, whatever. Definitely try SEO Copilot for free for 2 weeks with no credit card needed. You can do up to 10 pages, I believe. You can also check all these keyword reports and the ease and the difficulty and stuff like that I'm talking about as well. And so this is where you are when we get to SEO tip number 13, how to buy traffic or what traffic you should buy. And you might be like, but Josh, going back to the question, why do I need to buy traffic? If I followed your tips, and I have, and you should follow my tips so that you've got a 200, 300 page website that was ranking for the easiest stuff. Oh, and I forgot to say, you might be wondering, well, Josh, why did I do it that way? Why didn't I go for the hardest queries to begin with and get a head start on it? Because that's not how SEO works. That's not how SEO works. Google will try you once. Ever seen this before? They try you once. They put you on page one for some query. You jump up and down, then boom, you're either off the SERP entirely, or you go from not ranking to ranking, to not ranking to ranking, or you go from spot 50 to 5, 50 to 5. Ever see that before? Everybody raise your hand if you've seen that before. I've seen that before. Everybody's seen that before. That's because you tried too hard of a query before your site had the trust and authority that it needs to have for Google to trust that you have the sheet. You have the semantic keywords, the helpful keywords, the expertise keywords, the experience keywords, the authority, the trust, and the timeliness, that you are providing the primary query intent, that you are giving the user what they want so they can trust you as a page and they can trust you as a site in general to rank you for many different kinds of queries. You need to establish that trust first. Some people call it the sandbox, and they just think there's an arbitrary time limit. There's no arbitrary time limit. It could take you 5 years to get that trust. It could take you 5 days to get that trust if you do it right. There is no arbitrary time limit. Of course, Google doesn't make an arbitrary time limit. They are far, far more sophisticated than that, okay? So if you've done it right and you followed my previous tips, go back, watch the tips. You have built up a 200, 300 page site. You've ranked for the easiest keywords to begin with that make you the most money. They're giving you the most return on investment. Google's trusting your site now. You're ranking consistently on page one, if not spot number one, for 1 or 2 or 3 of your queries. If you're not, you haven't chosen the right niche to begin with. If you're not, you haven't chosen the right niche, and or you haven't chosen the right EMQs that are easiest to build, and or you haven't built fast enough because you weren't using AI, or you didn't follow all the on-page recommendations that all your key scores are in the green with our tool. And our tool would have warned you with a message, hey, you're not doing this. You need to be in the green. I really recommend you be in the green. The SEO Copilot, will be as polite as possible. The AI will remind you, you really should be in the green. And then it'll email you. It'll be like, hey, these pages are not in the green. You really should put them in the green if you want to rank. We're not doing that because we love sending emails for no reason. We're doing that because it is required for you to rank, because I want all my customers and my students to rank, because that's what I'm in the business of doing, is helping you rank, not just selling snake oil. I could have spent $5,000 on a snake oil tool as opposed to the hundreds of thousands of dollars we've put behind the tool so far. That would have made my life much, much easier, let me tell you, if I was an unscrupulous douchebag and was just selling snake oil. No, I have to do it the right way, sadly. And it actually has to rank you. So it's very important that you're in the green for those messages, right? And if you've done all that, you are ranking on page 1, guaranteed. And you should have at least, out of the 300 pages, you should have at least, I would say 5%, 10% of your pages should be on spot number 1 if you've done that correctly. Now, you might have gone for a really, really expensive niche that makes a lot of moolahs, a lot of the moolahs, but it could be a lot harder too. Could be average to very tough. Could be average to tough niche. It could be 10, 20, 30% more difficult than the rest of SEO. Well, then expect 20 to 30 to 50 to 50 to 60% less kind of interactions, right? We give you a solid guess of where you will end up doing on page. And we're usually pretty conservative in that estimate. We'll say you'll end up on page 5 just for on page. You end up on page 6 just for on page. You can count on maybe being 1 or 2 pages a little bit better than that. But you should have went for queries that you can get page 2 or 3 easily. So you should be starting to get to the point where you found some really easy stuff, depending on the niche you're in. You might have gone for a very lucrative competitive niche. So you will make more money sooner, but you won't rank very soon. And so you're on page 2. Fine. You might be on page 2. Okay. So you might be like, if you're on page 2, clearly you're going to need some traffic. You need to test out your conversion rate optimization. And there's a lot more reasons why, and I'm making this an SEO tip, there's a lot more reasons why you need traffic for just more than just test runs of trying out your conversion rate, which I'm going to do in SEO tip 14 in a couple seconds. And if you want more information about that, I'd be happy to provide it. Email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com, and I'll get into the nitty gritty of all the SEO ranking factors that are all going to be served by everything I'm saying today. Everything I'm saying today is going to help boost you, right? In various ways. Email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com. I'd be happy to help you out where you can get that information. That much more detailed scientific proof of what I'm talking about, how it exactly works, how you can manipulate it, how you can black hat it, how you can do all that stuff, how you can do white hat, how you can do all these things, right? I'll get much more into that. It's hours of courses. I'll get much more into that later on. So email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com. I'd be happy to help you out there. So if you're on page 2, obviously you need to buy the traffic. You don't have it yet. You're on page 2. If you're on page 1, you still need to buy the traffic, because now you're going to start building your bottom of the sales funnel pages, right? And these pages either will be SEO pages. I prefer them to be SEO pages. Or you can just make it just for landing pages for paid traffic. You can do that too. Either way, even your SEO pages that are informational pages or in the middle of the sales funnel, informational transactional pages, those have a conversion as well. You need to get all those pages traffic. So let's do that first. So SEO tip number 13, as I said, get traffic going to your SEO pages. So this is a very easy, high-level summary of how you would get traffic going to your SEO pages. 1, from the rankings that you already built up, I talked about previously. 1. 2, you need to go buy some. Okay. Now here's some pro tips. If you want your traffic to be relevant for SEO, it's got to be relevant to the area you want to rank for, because otherwise you won't be able to see the conversions are working properly. And some other reasons there that I would get more into in my underground mastermind course. Email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com. So you're going to have to pay for traffic. You want to pay for the simplest, the fastest, easiest traffic. You can go to all the normal sources, right? You can go to Twitter and get some traffic. You can go to, and I suggest trying all of these and seeing which one works best. You can go to Pinterest, get some traffic. You can go to Quora or Reddit and get traffic as well. Those can convert really, really well in the exact subject matter niche that you want to be in. And then, of course, there's always Facebook you can go for traffic. And there's finally Google Ads. That's the last place I would go for traffic, Google Ads. Why? Because although it's people doing it in a search for that specific thing that you want to rank for, and so they'll see your brand name and then they'll see brand recognition and they'll click you more below too. And that's scientifically proven. That's been publicly released for 15 years, 20 years. But you'll pay a pretty penny, right? Google Ads is the primary ad network. They make the most money on their ads. They still do. Over 60 to 70% of their revenue comes from their ad network. I saw in their recent publication, which is interesting. It used to be 95%. So they've either made a lot more money on their services and or they're losing money in their ad network now. I'm not sure which one it is. And that could very well be because of inflation, because of greedflation, and because of living standards being what they are, and because of other competitors. More people are bidding in other places, like TikTok as well is another place you can go for traffic, if that's the demo you're skewing to. Insta, if that's the demo you're skewing to. LinkedIn, if that's more professional, the area you're going to. And I'll talk more about those in a second. Are taking away ad revenue, and Bing now as well is taking away ad revenue, and ChatGPT to an extent. Perplexity, Claude, Anthropic, all those different kind of search engines that are biting at Google's heels to start cutting into internet search traffic, are taking away from their ad network now. So these are the places. So how would you decide? Well, it depends on your niche. If you're more professional, you would go more LinkedIn, more Facebook. If you're more young and hip, you go more TikTok, more Instagram. A little bit of Facebook there too. People are still on Facebook as well. A little bit of Twitter or X. I refuse to call it X. I call it Twitter. A little bit more Twitter. Reddit as well is really, really good. Quora can be really, really, really good. And special niche buys in your area. So this is what you do. Let me share the screen here. And you're like, okay, what do you do? Let's go here for Jaguar parts. And you see, okay, look for the forums discussion groups that start showing up here is what you'd look for. You'd go down until you see some kind of forum or discussion group, if you see them here at all. You'd scroll down, keep scrolling down, keep scrolling down. Da 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 da. For discussion, for when Google finally starts sticking discussion in here. And usually they will do it pretty quickly. I'm surprised they have not done this already, considering how far down I've scrolled here. Let's see. Now, if you don't find it here, it's fine. I have another way of doing this. But you want to do the actual EMQ that you want to rank for, whether you got that page on your site yet or not. And go down here and see if you can find any discussion group or forum about this. Sometimes they'll stick in Reddit and whatnot. Scroll down, see if you can see them. Okay, I do not see any. Okay, so that's fine. You can keep scrolling down, see if you find them. I might find some here somewhere. Automotive news. Here we go. That's what I wanted. Now, whatever this is a really good, you're also doing other stuff at the same time here. If you can get an article or discussion on this site, that would be great. That gets into a little bit more of an SEO tip later on about references, buzz, and dare I say, backlinks. So that is something that would be important to talk about later on. They're already ranking for the main query, if not at spot 200, whatever it is. So now you change that and you say discussion. I want discussion. Now, this is what you want to do. If you can buy from Jaguar forums, or here's Reddit. Here you go. Go and place ads on Reddit for people who are talking about Jaguar parts, and they love about Jaguars, they want about Jaguar parts, and they want to learn about Jaguars, they want to talk about it. And that's where you would put your ad. And you would always do a soft sell in your ad. And you do a soft sell, you'd be like, hey, for the best tips, prices, and tricks on Jaguars, we have 30 years experience, we know things about Jaguars no one else does. Whatever your best sales value proposition is there, your SVPs, they're called, your best sales value proposition, that's what you want. So you want to do a search for discussion and start seeing who shows up there. Jaguar forum, again, Jaguar forums, Jaguar forum, two different ones. You need to go on here, you need to be posting on here, you need to be talking on here organically if you want to do it for free, and be helpful with those people, right? You need to be helpful. You need to be soft selling, helpful. But basically, don't do that at all. People hate the hard sell. And you can be like, if you wanted more tips and tricks, let me show you some of the things. Let me show you some of the stuff we talk about, blah, 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 blah. You can do it organically if you want to do it for free. And you need to get that traffic coming to you. And that's giving you other signals as well, and I'm talking about in other SEO tips. But you also can buy ads there. You can buy a Reddit ad. They're fairly cost effective. And people are discussing it there because you searched it. Your EMQ, what you want to rank for, Red Apple's discussion, and you get all the discussion groups. If you don't see Twitter or Facebook there, that's not where I would go first off. You don't see LinkedIn there, that's not where I'd go first off. I would go to those places where you have niche-specific people. Also, you could look at Google Ads because people are interested in that. But again, you could check to see if it's how cost-effective it is. It could be pretty cheap. So that's SEO tip number 13. Do a search for your thing you want to rank for. See the discussion groups that are talking about it. That's probably the best bang for your buck, where to buy ads. If none of that comes up, you can buy a general thing on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You can buy on Google Ads as well, but those tend to not work so well. You want to do a much more specific ads kind of thing. You can also look for newsletters in your niche, and that can be good. Email marketing tends to have the best conversion rates. Still, after the last 25 years, email marketing still tends to have the best conversion rates. So you can find newsletters that are good for your niche, and you can advertise in those things and get a traffic signal on your site so Google can start to see that you got stuff going on, right? They can trust you. You got traffic going on, you got stuff going on. And if you're posting online as well, you got posts and people are talking about you, stuff like that. There's a whole cluster of ranking factors in there that all kind of interoperate and work with each other. Email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. I'd be happy to talk to you a little bit more about that. Now, see, that's how it works, right? Give a little bit, and then after you've given what you feel is a fair amount of information, then be like, okay, then email me and we can talk. And you don't have to upsell everyone who emails you. You can give them a little bit more if you want. It depends on your sales cycle and what your product is, right? My product is information at the end of the day and an AI tool, those kinds of things. So obviously that's where I want to guide people in those two different areas. Okay, so that's SEO tip number 13. Those are the best way to get traffic. I would go niche specific first off, because those are going to have higher conversion rates. Those people are going to be cheaper. Those people are probably going to like it more. You can buy banner ads, you can do stuff like that. That starts to get expensive, but they can also convert really well. So try out the niche specific stuff, skewing more professional, don't know where to go, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google Ads, skewing more young, don't know where to go, TikTok, Insta, Facebook is good for both. Everybody's on Facebook, whether they realize it or not. Instagram is part of Facebook. Their advertising network can be all combined together. So I would do those things. How to make ads on those? It gets into a few hours of how to do this, how to do that. Check out each one. I'm more on the SEO side, but so I'm not going to get too much into that, but you can look at other tutorials. You can ask ChatGPT as well. How do I make an ad for this? How do I make an ad for that? It could probably guide you through pretty well as well. Okay, so that's SEO tip number 13. Greg, do you think I missed anything? Would you add anything to that?
The only thing I've been toying with, because I have a pretty good email list, and I know you brought up email, but you mentioned, newsletter sort of paying. You could just use your own if you have an email list. If you're just looking for a couple clicks a day, and if that does the trick for you, then yeah, just use your email list that you have. It'll be cheap and easy, and you're not going to get a ton of traffic, but you'll get some. So utilize what you have, and what you can do at no cost would be my, just 2 cents there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you very much for reminding me. That's a really good point. And then once you also, I was going to talk about this later, but I'll mention it now so I don't forget. Once you get all that traffic, you need to collect it. You need to collect email lists. You need to do retargeting, right? You need to collect the email lists. You need to do retargeting. You can email them back. So that's kind of getting a little further afield from the SEO course, but definitely good recommendation, Greg. You definitely should collect those emails, collect the people who are coming to your site, collect their information if they actually fill in a form or something like that, there's many kinds of conversions. One type of conversion is filling in a form, but there are many kinds of conversions. We'll talk about it in a second. You want to collect all that information so you can retarget them in a retargeting advertising system with cookies based on your site. 1, 2, if they filled in a form, you can also collect their emails and then send them offers later on. People love email offers with coupons in them. People love coupon codes and stuff like that. By the way, did you know there's a 10% off coupon code in the description below for SEO Copilot? People love coupon codes.
I'm going to give a plug for a service I just started using. I have no affiliation with them, called Pearl Diver. And they basically look at your anonymous users, traffic that come to the site. They don't do anything on your site, like fill out a form, but they have cookie data. They have ways to, look through their huge database and figure out, oh, that's Jane Doe and her email is, whatever at Gmail. And
that's golden. That is so good.
You can take that data and then hit them up with that email that I was referring to, get them back to the site. It's like a form of retargeting. Now, is it cheap? This one is the cheapest I found. The data seems really good. I think I'm at it's kind of a high bounce rate. So I know they're giving me some not great emails, but I think it's worth it. If you have something that you're selling that's some decent value in terms of what you're selling and the price tag of it, then it's probably worth looking into. So again, a Pearl Diver, no affiliation, not making commission off this plug, just something that I've been using and I like. So
that's great. Actually, I love that and that's how information replaced oil as the most expensive commodity on the planet. And what information replaced oil as the most expensive commodity? This exact information that Greg is tapping into, this information that the large marketing networks collect about everybody, your psychometric data, how to sell to you, what you like, what your likes, what your interests are. And then you're tapping into that with this Pearl Diver, and you can do a much more interesting kind of email retargeting. And that's all part of the retargeting you see on websites and everywhere. If they see you, if you have a longer sales funnel, and if they see you again and again, you get into their head, and that's how sales works. And they come back to the site and they make a purchase. They read your stuff, they like your stuff, they follow your stuff, and they convert eventually. They do all kinds of micro conversions before the macro conversion, which is the big sale. Ostensibly, the macro conversion is the big sale, whatever it is. You sign them up for a sales call. You sign them up for this. You sign them up for that. You sold them your widget. You sold them your sprocket, whatever. And if they come back to buy more widgets and sprockets or whatever it is you're doing for SEO, they clicked on your affiliate link. They converted and called the lawyer for your rank and rent page that you're renting out to a lawyer. All those things that you're trying to do, it's all part and parcel of SEO. Right? All of this is evergreen for all that. So those are 2 golden recommendations. Thank you, Greg, very much. That was very good. So that's SEO tip number 13. You got to get the traffic going because that enables you so many other things. Trust signals for Google, authority signals for Google. They know they can trust you and they'll send you more. Your rankings will get better. It all goes hand in hand, right? You can do the retargeting. You can collect the information. You can get more people back. This is how you build a successful digital business. This is how you do it, right? This is how you do it. The 90s song. This is how you do it. So that's SEO tip number 13. You got to get the traffic also for SEO signals, for sales signals, to reuse it in retargeting, to get the signals out there in the forums and the discussion groups talking about what you're doing. And then you learn which ad networks you should be bidding on. And then you would go to the general. You do the specific first, then you would slowly move to the general. You can get very specific with Facebook, Insta as well. You can get very specific to those niches using, again, that psychometric data that all these ad networks have. And you can kind of find out, which ones will work for you, that kind of a deal. So that's SEO tip number 13. SEO tip number 14 now. So let's go to SEO tip number 14. Make sure your SEO page converts. I wish I had an echo effect on right now. Make sure your SEO page converts. SEO tip number 14. Make sure your SEO page converts. Make sure all your pages convert, first off. But this is an SEO course specifically, so I'm going to tailor this to SEO pages. You got to make sure your SEO pages convert too. Now you're like, Josh, hold on a second. I'm confused. My SEO pages are informational pages or informational transactional pages. They don't have a buy now button. That's on the other pages. What's a conversion on an SEO page? You got to make sure your SEO pages convert. First off, you really shouldn't be doing the strategy of informational pages that don't convert you and on sales pages that do. There's all kinds of SEO problems with that I've talked about in previous SEO tips. Just quickly off the top of my head. 1, if you have 1,000 informational pages and 10 sales pages, Google thinks you're an informational site, not a sales site. You'll have trouble ranking these pages. 2, generative search is going to be cutting into informational search soon. That's going to be giving you less traffic. They're going to be answering the questions on the search, and people might not be clicking through to you. That's speculative, but people think it could happen. It is a risk. But it's speculative. I'd say about 30-40% chance of that happening to about a 30-40% rate. But that's possible. 3, more importantly, informational pages that are not on the low end of the sales funnel can be just as hard to rank for, but they don't make any money. They don't make any money. No one's making any sales on those pages. People think they need to do that because that's how people have been doing SEO since 2005. It's wrong. It's not how you do SEO anymore. As I talked about in previous tips, you should be finding the easiest keywords to rank for that make you the most money, whatever they are, and who cares where they are in the sales funnel. But just between you and me, just so you know, that's going to skew towards informational transactional to transactional, right? That's the sweet spot of where you want to be. You want to find the easiest pages like that to rank for, probably informational transactional, that also are going to make you money. And there is a macro conversion. The big sale button is on that page anyway. Whether it's an affiliate page, a rank and rent page, it is an in-house SEO page, it is a client SEO page, whatever page it is, whatever the conversion action they need to take is the exact thing. They sign up for the newsletter. They sign up for the whatever. They click the thing to the shopping cart. They opt in, they buy in, you upsell, you resell, you retarget it, they come back. Whatever the conversion, macro conversion is, and there can be multiple levels of macro conversions you want them to take. You can have a bundle button, you can have an upsell button, you can have a buy now, get this free button, you can have a buy it later button, you can have a save it to your wish list button, you can have an add it to your cart button, you can have a mean, Greg, what else can they have? You can have, there's so many ways you can macro convert somebody. You can have email this to your friend and buy this for me for my birthday button. Any off the top of your head you could think of that I didn't mention?
No, those are pretty good.
Those are all the ways that you can macro convert somebody. If they're squeamish about buying now, you can have them buy it later. And you remind them, and you're collecting their information, their click stuff, you're getting their Pearl Diver information, you're getting their retargeting information, you're getting all this stuff. You're learning about them, you're learning about their sales process. You're learning about, are you in a niche with high buying intent? Are you in a niche with low buying intent? I've worked in 25 years, I worked across the board in all these niches, and there's a science and an art to this, which is very fascinating psychologically. And that's what I studied mostly. My master's degree and my PhD was philosophy and psychology. And I got into the social psychology, and I've also taken a hypnosis certification course. I didn't actually go and get certified. I don't want to be a hypnotherapist, but I just took the course in COVID because I was curious about it. And hypnosis and sales are the same thing, right? They work all on the same thing. It's actually quite fascinating how it all works and how you tell people to do X, Y, Z, and they will do X, Y, Z the more you tell them. Just for hypnosis, you get them in a receptive alpha wave state or a theta wave state, and they're more receptive to your post-hypnotic suggestions. But hypnotic suggestions are sales value propositions or call to actions. CTAs, calls to actions, are just hypnotic suggestions. That's all they are, and you're just getting through their rational brain of them weighing up the pros and cons of whether they should do this. But every decision, as Antoine Damasio proved in a scientific study a couple decades ago, every single decision is based, and this is the actual neuroscience, emotion is required for every single decision. Every single decision is emotional at root, with cognitive, rational pros and cons that make you feel better or worse. But at the end of the day, it's all about feeling, right? And so you need to make them feel good enough about the conversion you're going to take. And I'm going to get back to what different conversions are in a second. But ultimately what your goal is for CRO, and you need to do this to make sure your SEO pages convert in multiple different ways. There's multiple different kinds of conversions for every kind of page. This is viable and relevant to every page I'm talking about in SEO Tip 14 to make sure your SEO page converts. You need to make them feel better about doing it either now or later, the best you can do. Now is better. More money now is better. You need to make them feel more positive about doing it now than they feel squeamish about not, right? There's two things, right? There's two bar graphs. This bar graph of positivity needs to exceed of a certain percentage threshold the bar graph of negativity. And you do that by, giving the sales value propositions. The sales propositions, a proposition is you're proposing something. You're making a claim. You're saying, hey, we do this, we do that, you get this, you get that. And you shouldn't be about we. You should be, you get this, you get that, you get this, you get that, get this, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. And there's the top 5 power psychology words you use in sales value propositions, which is you, new, now, good, or best, and because. Those are the 5 top power psychology words that social science has proven in scientific studies will help boost your conversions if you use that lingo. And I'm gonna go through it again. You, new, now, best, because, and variations of those words, synonyms of those words. That's what helps unlock the rational brain and the emotional brain of every human to make a decision to do every conversion they've ever made in their life. Every decision is a conversion. Every decision requires you feel good enough about it in the short and long term, or whatever time frame you are cognitively conceptualizing, right? And so you need to make them, usually in the short term, in the studies make it work better, you need to make them feel better about it in the short term, because people are not very good at thinking of the long term. As much as we try and be rational, we try and plan for the future, we are short term, greedy, jealous, emotional little creatures, usually at the end of the day. I'm not saying that's all we are. Some people say that's all we are. I'm not saying that's all we are. I'm not a nihilist like that. But we are definitely that. We are that hungry, angry baby. We all are, right? And that's kind of how we make decisions. And as much as, depending on different people, there's neurospiciness, there's people across different spectrums. Some people are more rational and think longer term. But basically, we all have that hungry, angry baby in us every second of every day, making every decision of every day. And you need to soothe that baby. You need to soothe that psychology with more positivity in the value of what you're proposing, right? You get this, I propose, you get this, you get this, you get this. Here's the more value built up. There's more positivity than negativity at the end of the day. And there's enough for long enough in the brain, in their limbic system, their amygdala and limbic system, where they finally decide something click, and they go, yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, okay, I'm convinced. Then they will convert, or that's the hump you need to get them over that salespeople talk about. That hump you need to get them over. And then they might have objections, and then you need to overcome those objections. either that's, again, sales 101. They might be like, well, what about this? And then your sales value propositions are like a salesperson basically knowing exactly what they're going to be thinking and saying, we get this, we got you covered. You get this, you get this. I know now it switches to more of a we language. We do this, we do that, we do this, reinforcing the decision that they already want, and they're just a little scared to take. We give you this, we give you that, we got you covered. We got you is even better because then it's got both. This is a safe, trustworthy place to get your information and to get your stuff from, and you will get the benefits that we promised previously. Low risk, give it a try, low risk kind of offers. And here's an extra coupon just to sweeten the deal. That can usually put them over the second decision. So there's a primary decision. And for some people, the primary decision is all you need. Then the second decision is to confirm what the first decision already has been, that it was good and you're making a good decision and you're not going to regret it. You're not going to be embarrassed. The embarrassment and ego is a huge driver for human psychology, which is another really interesting thing too. So I won't talk too more about that, but so that's what you need to do. And there's a 2-stage decision process that they teach in science that you need to make them take for sales psychology. And the short version is you need to build up the pros that outweigh all the cons. And then you need to do that long enough and have them go over the decision a couple times and then they convert. That's why, I don't know if you've ever noticed the long sales letter. That's why it works, because you sucker them in. They really, really want this. They have high buying intent. And then you give them the pros, then you allay their fears, and then they make a purchase. That's why the long sales letter works. And you might be like, God, the long sales letter is so cheesy. It's so sleazy. It's so spammy, so salesy. And I can tell you right now, though, the long sales letter tends to convert pretty well, surprisingly, because it works on them. They really wanted it to begin with, and it just allowed them to feel good about the decision of doing it, right? And that is also the exact same process that happens in retargeting, right? They made a decision to stay tangentially connected, or they didn't, and you just have pearl dived them. You found their information somehow anyway. You're sending them unsolicited messages or whatever it is, or solicited or barely solicited messages, and remind them, hey, we're still here. Here's the reassuring stuff. Here's the value. Hey, stay attached, stay in touch, and you will eventually get them to convert over with that, right? And that's exactly the same as a long sales letter. The initial micro conversion or macro conversion, and we can start, it's really subjective what a micro or macro conversion is. We can start haggling over what is a micro or macro conversion. Typically, a macro conversion is the sale, the actual final sale. And that's pretty objective. Did they buy or not? Yes or no. But you can also say, well, they put it to their wish list. That's kind of a macro conversion. They're kind of on a step to making a sale. So that's what I mean by the difference between micro and macro conversions. And I will talk more about the other micro conversions when I get to SEO pages in a second. But all this is applicable to all these pages, right? And so they felt positive enough about the decision. They've made some kind of macro conversion. And so now you can work on them for more macro conversions and whatever micro conversions are in the process of another ultimate macro conversion in the future. Once you make a contact, you never lose a contact. Once you make a contact, an emotional contact with someone, you never want to lose that contact because you spent time and money and effort to get those people. You never want to lose it. So you might be like, Josh, okay, how does that apply to SEO pages? Well, remember, in my mind, SEO pages are macro conversion pages. They're not just micro conversion pages. Micro conversion pages are just, they read the information and they were informed. They liked your tips and tricks. They did some kind of, they moved around and clicked their mouse and moved their mouse. Moving a mouse is a micro conversion. Clicking is a micro conversion. Highlighting something is a micro conversion. Reading and being informed is a micro conversion. Those are the crucial micro conversions that are necessary before a macro conversion. And you need to chase the micro conversions to push macro conversions is what you need to do. If you're not doing that, someone else who's doing it better will succeed and will beat you, right? So those are actual micro conversions. That's pretty objective. Did they move the mouse? Did they scroll down? Did they click certain things? Did they highlight certain things? Did they read what we wanted? Did they make the interim click to go to the sales page if for some odd reason your SEO page is not the sales page, which it should be, but if for some odd reason it's not, and you're doing SEO wrong, and you're building informational pages, well, I won't say wrong, I'll say you're doing it in that sadly inefficient way because you have your reasons why, which is fine. There are perfectly valid reasons why you need to make informational pages sometimes, just not anywhere near the amount the rest of SEO thinks it is. Fine, then they did a micro conversion to click to this page to either subscribe, follow your socials or to go onto a page where they could make a macro conversion. And that is kind of like the big micro conversion, a semi, suburb between a macro conversion or a small macro conversion, whatever you want to call it. See, it's kind of what's in a name, Romeo. You can start, getting subjective about which one is which. But you need to be doing that, right? This is important for SEO. This is important for an SEO business. There's boosting things here. If you want to know more about the boosters here, email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. I can give you a huge discount on my underground SEO university where I teach this at length and how to really pro tips and scientific experiments proving what is better, this kind of button or that kind of button, or this kind of click or that kind of click, or this kind of list or that kind of list. We have all kind of proof for those kind of things, all kind of scientific experiments for those kind of things. Email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com and you can get more information about that. You've got to make sure your SEO page converts, because then you're wasting money, you're wasting time if it doesn't. There are SEO ranking factors there, big ones that are tied into the previous tip that I gave as well. And you've got to make sure you're doing it right? And you don't, at the end of the day, even if none of that was true, you don't want to waste your money and time. You don't want to waste your money and time. Every single visitor that comes to your site should be a conversion. So that's kind of a radical statement based on how people think of SEO and think of how you build sites and think of how conversions work. But they're wrong, right? SEO isn't just informational, or it shouldn't be. That's not the best how to do it. And even informational pages, even if it is, they have conversions, micro conversions of moving the mouse down, clicking something, highlighting sentences. You can watch in the video, they're watching and they're reading. And then they get converted at the very least that they got the information they're looking for and you terminated the search. You terminated the search cycle. You were the expert with authority that gave the information that they can now trust, right? It's very important for the EAT, which is, been proven by Google, put out there is what they want to do. So let's get to a tutorial now, an over-the-shoulder tutorial section. Let's look at an actual page and I'll show you some of the micro conversions you need on a page that they need to take. Because if they don't scroll, they just go back, that's not a micro conversion, that's a back button signal, right? If they just jump off your page, that's a terrible signal. So we don't want that. So let me show you here. So I'm going to show you here on the actual one of our pricing pages. We have multiple pricing pages on our actual site that we are experimenting with to try to find the absolute best pricing page. I'm practicing what I preach. We're following the micro conversions to get to macro conversions. And whether this is an SEO page or not doesn't matter. We're following the micro conversions to get to a macro conversion. It's all the same page per page. Just don't think that your SEO pages are excluded from this, because this is not really an SEO page. This is more of a sign up page. But don't think that your SEO pages are excluded from this. You need to track the micro conversions as well. So you can install Clarity, Microsoft Clarity, or there's other ones like Hotjar. You can install Hotjar. There's other ones that do a really good job in giving you a heat map. This is what's called a heat map, or watching the recordings. So you want heat maps and recordings. At the end of the day, you want heat maps and recordings. And you want heat maps first to get this kind of, see this like graphical way that they represent the heat, so to speak, of what the users liked and where they clicked. And sometimes they give you a list as well of what they clicked on the most. And there's all kinds of things you can and need to infer from that, which I'll talk about in a second. And then a recordings actually watches people move their mouse along the page and click stuff, and they do stuff, and they click more stuff, and they scroll up and down, and then they go away. And watching the recordings is also very, very instructive. So I'll show you that in a second. So here is just a Cole's Notes, a high-level overview of how you can do an over-the-shoulder tutorial of how you can look at a heat map and infer things from it. Well, first off, this pricing experiment, I'll be the first to hold up my hand and admit it, is not working as well as I'd hoped. It is and it isn't. Now, it's very interesting. I'll show you why. Ultimately, we want them to click Get It Now, and it's the 14th most clicked out of 469 page views, only 4 clicks. So it's a macro conversion rate of 1% after 30 days. That's how long this experiment's been running, 30 days. So that is, a 1% conversion rate is pretty standard for some niches. And some people might be like, yeah, that's fine. My answer is no, that's not good enough, right? If it can be increased, it should be increased. And how do you know it can be? You should be trying to increase it no matter what you're doing. And if you have any downtime, if you have any rainy days, if you have any time where you're twiddling your thumbs in SEO, you should go back to your CRO, look at your heat maps again, look at your recordings, and see if you can chase the micro conversions to push a bigger macro conversion. you can never, ever waste time doing successful conversion rate optimization. That's never, ever a waste of time for SEO. CRO and SEO go hand in hand. You can never waste time doing successful CRO to improve your SEO. Want more information about that? Email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com. If you're like, why? How does it boost? Where does it boost? When does it boost? Join my group and I'll be happy to tell you. Email me, I'll be happy to help you out more of that. So I want to improve this, but you might be like, here's another way I can know for a fact this conversion rate is not high enough, because there's certain very key clues. You need to watch the clues. There's certain key clues here in the click patterns that, and I've been doing this for a long time, that tell me there's certain micro conversions here that tell me, there's certain click patterns that tell me these people are not being sold properly. This pricing page is failing. This experiment has pretty much failed. These pricing pages have failed. It was prettier than the one we had. It looks nicer than the one we had, but prettier isn't always better. Prettier isn't always better, and I can prove that to you, and I will prove that to you before we leave. And you never know. In some niches, you need a prettier pricing page and a prettier brand. In some niches, you want an uglier one. It's really interesting, the different niches, when you want to have an ugly conversion page or a pretty conversion page. So we went with a better designed one, and we have a 1% conversion rate after 30 days. And how do I know that this can get better? Let me show you. Well, first off, where'd they click for the most? They clicked here the most. Do you see all that burn here on just text? They're clicking on the text where we talk about, let me show you the actual pricing page here. They're clicking on the 10 pages of optimization. They're clicking the $1,000 worth of value. They're clicking on try free for 14 days for free and the no credit card required. That's what they're clicking. Look at that. This clearly tells me a number of things. One, they like the 10 pages of optimization, for which is at least $1,000 worth of value, and it is. If you charge $100 a page only, I charge up to $200 to $300 a page. That's like $3,000 to $4,000 worth of optimization that you can get for free for 14 days, no credit card required, or only $54 a month with a 10% off discount coupon below. That is an extremely reasonable price that I will tell you right now is not going to last forever, by the way. That's an extremely entry-level price that we're just trying to get people in the door to build up our user base, because we're only a year old. And they like that. I know for a fact they like that. Why? Because people click what they like. A really, really interesting facet of human psychology, which has been proven through scientific experiments, and I know this for a fact for doing this for 25 years, is that people click what they like. They mouse over what they like, they click what they like on any kind of page, on a sales page or on a blog page. Watch the users on your informational pages and you will see them highlight the information they find interesting and that answers the question. Now, if that on an informational page, if you see that users are highlighting or clicking information, put that above the fold. Put that up higher on your page because the users are looking for it if it's not already high on the page. Bold it or put it in a block quote call out because that the eyes immediately see, because that's what the user is looking for. That's the answer to the question. That's how you terminate the search. So that's one way you can skyrocket your micro conversions is watch what they click. What's the first thing they go to? What do they click the most? If that's information, make it more visible, make it more usable. If it's a sales page like this, what do we need to do? Well, on a sales page like this, we should make this an actual link to try it for the free trial. Or we should be giving a longer verbose information about how you get 10 pages of optimization and how it's worth $1,000. Because they don't realize for some reason that this sales value proposition here is associated with the price. It is right beside it in terms of design hierarchy, and it is top left to bottom right, which is proper design hierarchy for left to right English readers. And the same goes for French or German, anyone that reads from left to right. Hebrew and Arabic is right to left. But English, French, German, all those languages, Spanish, Portuguese, go from top left to bottom right. And you want to put the sales value propositions right beside justifying the price. The good right beside justifying the bad. That's other scientifically proven tactics of how to make a proper conversion page, if it's a sales page for a macro conversion, you get at least $1,000 worth of value. Heck, that's low. It should be like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of value. You could try it free for 14 days. No credit card is required. You should go sign up right now, it's saying. And you can get this after the free trial for only $54. So you would think, because of the science, and I did think, which is why I allowed this experiment to begin with, that this right here and this right here at the bottom of the right page, this should actually convert pretty well. But it's not. It's not for some reason. Now, we might not be getting the right people in top of funnel who can afford $54 a month. We think in the West, $54 a month is dirt cheap. That's like $500 a month for someone in the third world, maybe, or overseas. So maybe we need to, and we definitely need to change our top of funnel and do stuff like that. So that's one thing. But at the same time, still more people should be converting than 1%, right? You would hope. And this is right beside this, and they're clicking it like crazy as if they're confused. We get 30 clicks, 9%. 9% of the users after 30 days are clicking this and highlighting this. That tells me they are highly, highly interested in what they can get, and we just don't have a design allowing them to do that yet. The design is not quite right yet. This experiment has largely failed. And that's how science works. Fine, I need to try it out to see if it would work. They like this value very much. They just don't realize, they don't associate this with this and associate this with the Get It Now button to get it now. So that's one problem. That's one problem. Another problem is I think people here are looking for a standard like left, middle, and right kind of $54, whatever, $144, $174. They're looking for a bronze, silver, gold kind of pricing page like that everybody else does. Maybe they're looking for, which Greg mentioned weeks ago, and he could be right. That could be the case. Building that would have been difficult for us, which is not why I didn't go for it first off. We got this kind of option after you click for this, and we might end up going with that. But at the end of the day, this experiment, sometimes you got to run experiments, it seems to fail. They're clicking this. Here's the other reason why I know. Look what gets number 2 clicks. The pricing link. They're on the pricing page, and yet 4 to 5% of people are clicking pricing. That again tells me this is not what they expected to see or giving it. It's giving them value. It's all, see how they click all of our sales value propositions? People want a full on-page solution. You want a full on-page solution. You want, the clicks prove, you want advanced AI that does all your on-page for you automatically, and we do. You want to reduce your SEO costs. We can definitely reduce all of your SEO costs. We can definitely do that. They're definitely interested in that, although less interested. Look, only 1 click. They're less interested in reducing their SEO costs. That again tells me we don't have the right top of funnel, right? Because I tell you, in-house and agencies are all about reducing their SEO costs. Anyone who's spending thousands of dollars a month for writers writing content, they definitely want to reduce their costs. And they are also into, to some degree, 1 click, 10 clicks here, 1% on advanced SEO Copilot. They like the SEO Copilot. They want to spy on competitors. You got 2 clicks on spying on competitors. So this tells us the sales value propositions right now that we should be hammering and putting at the top. This tells us right now what they're more interested in, a full on-page solution. Josh, I want a full on-page solution. I want to have an AI do it for me all automatically. And that's why we made the tool. That was Greg's dream originally. And he had a good dream. That is a good dream. That is absolutely correct in my opinion. And the data is showing it here. That's another interesting thing about doing conversion rate optimization. It gets you more intimate with your customers. You learn what they're really interested in. You learn how to streamline this. And the fact they like our sales value propositions from here and here and here, we need to change the way we're showing it. So I'm moving to a new experiment. We need to change the way we're showing it, but they clearly are not expecting it to be shown in this way, because the second most clicked thing at 5% here, and we get 332 clicks. In total, we get 332 divided by 4, what is it? 4, it was 450 or something like that. 469. We get around a 75% overall micro conversion rate. So you can generalize the micro conversion rate at 75%. And that is a really good trick to make it sound better to your customer, by the way. So just take the full conversion, say, okay, out of 469 page views, we got 332 clicks. I like Hotjar because Hotjar will have just interactions, including mouse scrolling and mouse movement and highlight and hovers. And so you get more interactions, you get more bang for your buck. And you could say, yeah, out of 469 page views, we got 332 clicks. That's about a 75% micro conversion rate. And you're like, oh, okay, great. That sounds pretty good off the top. And it is. 5% of them here are clicking the pricing link to get a different pricing page because they didn't like this pricing page. It's like that thing you do when you go to the fridge and you open it again and again and you sigh and you open it again hoping different food will be there because you didn't like the options to begin with, right? That clearly shows me, oops, okay, my pricing experiment failed. Greg, I think you said this page wouldn't work. I believe Greg was right. I believe Greg gets some told you so coins. So he gets to bank some told you so coins on this one. If I recall correctly, I think Greg said he didn't think this one would work. And I kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of pretty. And I liked how it emphasized the sales value propositions in this kind of innovative pattern. And they don't realize this Get It Now button is a conversion button. That's the other thing. That's the other problem, right? Your conversion buttons need to stand out. They almost need to be eye-bleedingly obvious. You need to... Designers don't like doing this. Designers like a really subtle kind of call to action button. This should be a dark blue or a different color or even blinking slightly. I know people are like, ew, blinking slightly, but again, if you see a heat map like this where users clearly don't know where to click, you gotta make it a little more obvious. You gotta make it a little more grosser. You gotta ugly it up a bit so it stands out. And so this is a really good teaching experience for everyone to watch. Everyone, learn by my failure. Well, I didn't fail. I did have a 1% conversion rate. I have a 75% micro conversion rate, but this page is not as good as I hoped it would be. We made some micro changes. I changed some of the verbiage to be a little bit more less black hatty sounding. I was going to change this call to action button to be see our plans or see the different plans or see our plans, see the different plans or something like that. I can't remember what I said. And then I decided, you know what? This whole thing is not working well. Let's just change to the next one. I bet you if I change this to see our plans, the conversion rate on this would skyrocket. But skyrocketing from 1 to 5% is not what I want. I want to start with a 5 or 10% from a better page to begin with where people are not clicking, oops, my mouse gestures went off. People are not clicking the pricing link again and again because they want a different pricing page, even though that's the page they're on. That's not what I want. That's not what I want, right? So this told us some golden information, right? There's no such thing as a failed experiment. This experiment has taught us some very interesting things. It tells us that, yes, our users are very, very interested in what we can offer, and they're very, very interested in the verbiage we're using for our sales value propositions. We just need to change the design to give them the different information on the page that they're looking for is what we need to do. Or the price at $54 a month that 3 of them clicked. 3 people clicked this number as if it was a link for them to see it. They didn't want to get it now. They're a little squeamish. It's a little too aggressive, right? Even though I used a hypnotic technique of get it now, 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 get it now. And these are post-hypnotic suggestions, right? That's a really, really pro tip. These are post-hypnotic suggestions saying get it now so many times so that when they see this, it would be higher that they click it. Didn't work. Still too aggressive. Only 4 clicks. Only 1% conversion rate. So that's very interesting. You can tell very interesting things. You can tell what sales value propositions will work for you. And you can tell it on the micro conversions. You can see how to improve your micro conversions. You could see how to reduce this or make this whole thing should be a link. This whole thing should be the link that this is. All of this, if I kept this page, all of this should be the page that this is, and I would skyrocket conversions to like 10% of moving past this process if I made all this the link that goes here. But I want to see if I can make it even better. I want to see if I can make a page that works even better. And if I can't, I'll go back to this page and I'll make all this a link that goes here, and I'll say see our plans, and that's probably what they're looking for. Less people will click this. This would be 10% probably. A 10% conversion rate on a pricing page for most industries is pretty darn good. So that's what this heat map tells me. Well, if they're clicking here, make this the link. That's another pro tip. Wherever users are clicking, either make it the link they need to click, because they've already told you what they want to click. They want to click this like crazy for some reason. This is what they want to do. And here's the videos I could watch where users click this element, and I can get a better idea of how long it took them based on their mouse movements and stuff like that. So let's do that. Now, so that was heat maps. Let's look at recordings here. Let's look at one here in the United States. They did 10 clicks over 5 pages. So they started here with a very low resolution, and they went to the pricing page. See how users move their mouse over stuff they're interested in? See that? And they clicked it too. Now they went back up to the left and read these things. Remember how much interest this was getting before? Now they left the site for 5 minutes, searching us up and looking for our testimonials and independent reviews. I've noticed that on a number of videos, by the way. I've watched a number of these recordings, and when they leave the site in the middle of something like that, they weren't convinced by your own pricing page. This wasn't enough to convince them. They wanted more testimonials, which I also told the designer to put on there, but it was over the weekend and he was skiing, so he didn't put it on, and I decided just to abandon this page entirely. They're looking for testimonials. They're looking for seals of approval. They're looking for testimonials. They're looking for seals of approval. They're looking for proof that, they already made, this guy here already made that primary decision. He made the primary decision that he would bother looking us up. Remember that decision I told you about? When he clicks this here, that was the first psychological decision. He's already agreed, I want this. This is what I want. This price looks reasonable. I want this. He's already clicked on it, decided he wants it. This is a clear indication of that. Now he needs the proof to not feel bad about this decision. And he needs testimonials, he needs reviews. And he decided wisely not to trust us because we can make up whatever testimonials we want. We haven't, by the way. All of our testimonials and our graphs are real. That's the page I'm going to try next, the one that has the 500 graphs on it, proving that we can boost you with 500 actual examples of how we were boosting people from our last all hands meeting in January. I got the proof, right? I'm going to show it there. I will see how well that page does. It'll be another experiment. But this guy decided to go off the site for 5 minutes and check us out. Probably, I'm guessing, I could be wrong. Maybe he went to answer some emails. Who knew what he did? But probably he went to search us online for our reviews and testimonials online on third-party sites. So it is another key idea. SEO tip 14.1. Make sure you have independent third-party testimonials, reviews, and ratings. Go out on the websites, make a listing for yourself, tell your users to use it. On your GMB, make sure you have reviews and ratings. Make sure you have independent third-party reviews and ratings. And I don't mean on some kind of cheesy little blog, and I don't mean some kind of chintzy little site. I mean major, big third-party sites. And I'm going to talk more about that in future SEO tips, but that was just important, quite frankly, for this conversion rate optimization, because you saw it. You saw how he left the site, and then he came back, right? So then clearly the pricing page didn't work. He clicks the logo again to get the same page. He's unsatisfied with the amount of information we have here and what we're doing. He doesn't like scrolling down. He wants to dominate the SERPs. He clicked this. He clicked this as well. He wants more information about this. And then he got frustrated and he went to an X to close the tab. So that's very, very interesting. Yes, the recording was super helpful. So you can also watch recordings and you can see what they do. And you can infer a lot. And after you watch 10 or 20 of them, watching one, you might be like, oh, I'm not sure what this is telling me, Josh. But after you watch 10 or 20 of them, you get a very clear picture. You're like, okay, they all scrolled to this exact paragraph. Either they liked it or they hated it. This micro conversion did not end up in a further conversion chain. The conversion chain broke here. Need to fix that. Make it a link to go deeper. Give them the information they're looking for. Or put more, if they've already made their first, I want this decision, now they need to be resold that you are honest, you're trustworthy, and you're providing that, and you will give them that. They need to find those things, preferably on your page. So that's what it is we need to do. And that is what everyone needs to do. Conversion rate optimization is not hard, really. It's the same kind of process of following the conversion chain. Follow the conversion chain of your micro conversions to your macro conversions to your ultimate macro conversion. Rinse, repeat, watch 10 videos, and you're going to see, oh, very clearly we need to do this, clearly we need to do that, et cetera, et cetera. So Hotjar and Clarity is your friend. Make sure you watch those things. make sure you boost your conversion rate optimization. It is important for SEO and to make sure you're squeezing every little last bit of money out of everyone that comes to your site. Otherwise, what are you doing SEO for to begin with? All right, so let's go here to see what questions you guys got. Furman says, hey guys. Hey Furman, how you doing? Steven says, I think someone needs an SEO OnlyFans account. Oh my. Marsan says, from our experience, the final sales funnel action, product purchase in our case, is a huge ranking booster. Yeah, I'm just going to say that is, I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to say anything else about it. If you want more information about that, email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. I can help you out for sure. Marcin says he's polishing an article now. The SEO section is very useful. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. And Furman says, I agree with Greg. I look for comparative pricing on plans to see what the upgrade cost would be. Yeah, perfectly valid. Perfectly valid. There was some other tech reasons why we didn't do that right off the bat, just the way we set it up to begin with. But we probably should go to that. We should probably bite the bullet and spend a few $1,000 and get that kind of same way everyone does it on the same page. Click and you buy it first and then you make an account afterwards. It's probably what we should do, because that's probably what we'd have to do to make a page like that. Maybe not. Maybe we can make it anyway, but you're probably right. So Greg, you earned some I told you so coins today. Let's give Greg a moment to gloat. Or how do you feel about that, Greg? How do you feel about the told you so? Or is there anything else that you want to comment on that I missed or that you think is important?
I'm not going to gloat. I think it's just using so many different SaaS products myself, just because that's what I've been doing for years, just testing stuff out to help me in business, not just SEO. I know there's a standard pricing page that literally everyone uses, and I think if you don't, you actually earn negative points. It's almost like sort of your SEO model of, be what everyone else is doing, what the crowd is doing. So I think that's the same with pricing CRO. That was just my guess, but it definitely, going with this experiment is good in the fact that you were able to get some key stuff out of it that you can use in the next version.
Yes.
So
that's the name.
But yeah, that's the only thing I would say with that. In terms of the conversion flow, I think most sites, they have that pricing page, they have different plans, and then the get it now. After that, there's going to be another conversion. It's not. Yep. You click that button, and that's like your final conversion. It's okay. Hopefully that's 10%. But then what's the next one?
Yes.
Probably it's going to go up because they're more motivated to purchase at that point. But you're going to need to get their name, their email, their credit card. So that's where, conversions should drop down. But getting people to that final checkout page, is what you were talking about today. So, I think it's a process, and we're moving in the right direction. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I would, that sounds very reasonable to me. It's entirely reasonable to me that people are used to seeing a certain pricing page where they could see the different values. We do that later on in the process, but they're probably looking at it in a certain way where they want to see it right there, presented the way everyone else does it. Here's another interesting thing that reminded me when Greg was talking. It's not always the pretty page that wins, by the way. Check this out here. This is our old pricing page. And let's look at it for the last 30 days as well. And this is the old pricing page. It's more of a long sales letter. Now, I find this personally very, very ugly. And it just has like this kind of really chintzy list. But last time I looked at it, it had a higher conversion rate. So you never know what users are going to do. This, for the last 30 days, at the bottom of the screen, pricing old, has, I don't know why this is here to begin with also. I don't know why that's there. But it was, so I had data, so I looked at it. And it has a 5% conversion rate as opposed to a 1% conversion rate. And they weren't very interested at all in this long list. Way less people click this. And in terms of a micro conversion interaction rate, it has, in terms of an overall micro conversion rate, it has 81%. No, it was 20, sorry. 20 divided by 37, that will be 54%. It has a lower overall micro conversion rate, But the macro conversion rate for that 30 days was higher. It's not 1%, it's 5%. Right? So this is where a long sales letter can, at Shinsi, are quite frankly cheaper. They don't know what they're doing. What the hell kind of page is this? Page converted better. So it really depends on the industry. And I'm loath to compare us to industries like weight loss pills or something like that. But I've been doing SEO for 25 years. I've worked in every niche, the dirtiest black hat niches to the whitest white hat niches. And in niches where you're selling herbal Viagra, weight loss pills, skin creams, boob lifting creams, stuff like that, all these like health supplements and whatnot, they like quite frankly, they like a long sales letter that looks like someone wrote it who had no idea how to do web design. They're scared away, and the conversion rate plummets from a more nicely designed kind of advanced website, Web 2.0 or 3.0 design. The conversion rate plummets for some reason. So we were scratching our head. We're like, they're like, oh, we got to upgrade our design from 1997. It looks terrible. They did, and conversions plummeted. But the sales thing was in the same place. It was just a different design, a much more white-spaced, nice design. Didn't work as well. So sometimes they don't convert as well. Sometimes they skyrocket conversions. Sometimes they plummet them. So you really don't know until you try it, right? But yeah, that's another interesting thing I wanted to show everybody. Sometimes a long sales letter works better. So are you in that kind of niche where you got people who have a high buying intent? You're really solving a problem for them, but they need to be handheld and you need to do more of a long sales letter? Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to do more of a long sales letter. Or there's different ways of handholding them and proving to them that you know what you're doing. I'm trying a different way of that, and we'll see how well that works. Then we're going to try a page like we've been talking about, and try that too. So anyway, that's it for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Greg for spending time with us. I'd like to thank you guys for asking the questions that you guys asked. Let me see if there's any final questions here. Vortex said, after running ads, I got 3K in checkout, but none of them converted. Mind telling me what I'm supposed to fix? Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, that's exactly what Greg just said. Even the macro conversion on the page is not the ultimate macro conversion. So it's like, when you ask the missus, hey, would you like some romantic time in the bedroom? And she's like, sure, let's do it. Or you're on a date and you're like, hey, would you like to take this to the bedroom, for some romantic time? And he or she or they are like, yeah, sure, let's go, let's do it. But when you get there, they get cold feet and they say, no, I'm not into it. Some would say, and this is probably a terrible example for me to use in this day and age, but some would say the real conversion is in the bedroom, or the real conversion, the real important conversion at the end of the day is the final conversion. So in this case, you've got them into the shopping cart, but there's something turning them off in the shopping cart. There's something turning them off. I would check to make sure your shopping cart works first off. 3,000 and nobody finished? There's something seriously wrong there. That sounds like there's something technologically broken with your shopping cart, is what it's telling me. Or there's something technologically broken with your app that's tracking the traffic. Something is wrong there. I would check to make sure that it works. Check what their browser is, see if it works on every browser, see if they're having any trouble. If you have their email address already, email them and say, hey, we saw you're in the shopping cart. Why haven't you checked out? Like, just try anything at that point, because that data sounds wrong to me. 3,000 in the shopping cart, yet nobody converted? That doesn't make any sense at all. Something seriously wrong happened in that shopping cart. Probably a technological. Sorry?
The analogy, you'll like this one. The analogy is you got 3,000 vegetarians into a butcher shop. They're all vegetarians, so that's very unlikely that's the case. I mean, you definitely will get people that you got them there, they clicked through and you paid for it. Yeah, they were kind of interested, maybe not at all, but 3,000, there's no way that's zero. I think you're right. I think it's a technical conversion tracking, or just something people can't check out, like they're getting errors or something, and
just nobody told you. Luckily, we have the best customers in the world, and they will tell us when something's not working, and we appreciate that very much. And they will stay with us, and they will tell us, and that's perfectly fine, because they know that we're going to fix it pretty quick, and we are the absolute best SEO AI tool on the planet, bar none. We are the absolute best one. Getting people rankings, you just saw in the comments there. getting people rankings, getting people better rankings, making them more money, helping them do their SEO, full on-page solution that will do it almost all for you, or all for you, depending on how tough the niches are. You could run it on autopilot and people rank with that as well. Instead of just a co-pilot, you could do it on autopilot. He says, I know it's surprising, 3K clicked to check out and then 1K to pay, but none of them converted. Watch the videos. The videos will tell you. Install Clarity, install Hotjar, watch the videos, and you're going to go, oh, this is wrong. And it'll be like, bah, and it'll just come out and you'll see it. So watch the videos. If in doubt, watch the videos. It will tell you. But that sounds to me like if you got 3K with something in the cart, then 2K of them couldn't find out where to check out. And the 1K who found out where to check out, again, that's weird. 1,000 are at the checkout, but they don't press the final button. What, did you ask for like 20 things and like who their favorite TV show was growing up or who their first crush was? Like, did you ask them some weird questions? Like, that's really, really weird. There probably is a huge technological problem there probably as to why that's happening. So watch the videos. They'll tell you. Ask the users. Say, hey, I see you were in the checkout, but you didn't buy the item or get the item. Here's a 5% off if you sign off right now, or I'll give you a 5% coupon if you just tell me why. I'll give you a 5% coupon if you just tell me why you didn't sell it, why you didn't buy it. So we can fix something if there's something broken. And they'll tell you. They will tell you. People love giving their opinion. They'll tell you, especially if you give them a coupon. So that's what I would recommend there. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. This has been the SEO Plus AI show. I would like to thank Greg and everyone for watching. Tune in next week where we will give you more SEO tips. The ones I have coming up here are going to be really, really good. We're going to be talking about references and then eventually backlinks. Tips on those kinds of things. Buzz, references, off-page stuff. What is that like in this in 2025 or 2024 and beyond? We'll tell you. So keep watching my SEO course, talking little SEO tips. Make sure you subscribe so you can join us live and ask questions as well. I'll be happy to help you out with any SEO questions. And again, if you have any SEO questions at all, even if you're not interested in buying anything, just want to ask me a question, by all means, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. That's JOSH, B as in Bob, ACH, Y as in YouTube, N as in Nancy, SKI@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Greg.